We welcome you back to Lawrence, Kansas. We are moments away from kickoff to open up Big 12 play between the West Virginia Mountaineers, the Kansas Jayhawks, and it is a gorgeous day here in Lawrence. A little bit warm, 83 degrees. It is all sunny skies as we are set for kickoff here in Lawrence. Beautiful day for football.
Yeah, it certainly is, and this stadium is just gorgeous. I love what they've done here, and you know, I'm old enough to remember, maybe you're not, I'm old enough to remember when people made fun of the facilities here, and it's so cool, man. It's just great to see what they've been able to do, but what they're in the process of doing as well.
Yeah, brand new stadium here at Kansas. They gave us a tour of the facilities yesterday, and they are incredible.
It's got that new facility smell to it.
Sure does. Laith Marjan set to boot it away. And off we go from Lawrence, Kansas in game one of Big 12 play. As Rodney Gallagher calls for a fair catch, it's a touchback to start. You said it in the open, Robert. This is a West Virginia offense that is still repping 5 quarterbacks during practice during the week. But Nico Marchiol has been the one that has taken a majority of the snaps, and that's who they are leaning on right now as QB1.
Yeah, and we're going to see what they're going to do at the tailback position, because you're in Ty Edwards is a little banged up after Jaheim White went out in the Ohio game a couple of weeks ago. And whatever West Virginia is going to be, they need to be balanced. And I think that's the hallmark of the Rich Rodriguez teams.
First play of the day, Marchiol keeps it. He splits between 2 defenders, and he gets ripped down just across the 30 for a 5-yard pickup.
And how about that? They had Cam Vaughn lined up in the backfield on that play. Dangerous wide receiver, and here, the tempo again.
Second consecutive carry. This time it's Clay Ash, who you talked about it there. At least to start this drive, they don't have Ty Edwards. He was a game-time decision after a 3-touchdown game last week against Pitt.
Yeah, and I'm just guessing they're not going to use him. I would imagine he would have been in there early. Clay Ash, walk-on, the tough guy they call him. They had him split out early, and now goes in motion, changes sides.
Empty set, they put Ash in motion and fake it to him. Marchiol rolling left, and he is dropped behind the line of scrimmage by Dean Miller.
A tremendous play from Miller. And this is the thing, when you go empty, you better be right. You better be able to make a play. And you can see Miller, that closing speed, Marchiol just not able to separate. And that's what they talked about. They talked about improving their tackling from a couple of weeks ago against Missouri.
This is Tate Nagy. Near side, across the 40. Great return as he spins away from one, and he gets crushed from behind, but it's at midfield for a 30-yard punt return by Tate Nagy.
And that's the way you want to start at home. We talk about all 3 phases, and one of these teams coming off a big rivalry win, backyard brawl for Pitt, and a rivalry loss in the border war with Kansas against Missouri. Always nice to have a big special teams play and great field position to start.
Jaylen Daniels, the 6th year starting quarterback. He has battled through adversity, 3 injuries over the course of his career. Gets it out quick on the first play, and that went off the helmet of the defender, Jason Chambers. He was looking for Levi Wentz on the near sideline. More than 7,400 yards in his career for Jaylen Daniels, and Lance Leipold was not shy about saying that he felt him, along with Devin Neal, last year's running back, were the 2 biggest reasons why Kansas football has turned it around over the last 4 or 5 years. First and long, Daniel Highshaw chopping the feet across the 45. He picks up 7 and makes this a 3rd and 3.
Boy, and Jim Zebrowski, the offensive coordinator, he talked about the use of multiple tight ends and what that could do to a defense like West Virginia that likes to bring a lot of exotic pressures. He said that could really calm them down. You're going to see a lot of 12 personnel with the 1 running back, 2 tight ends from Kansas today. And you can see with that pressure they're able to put, just run it right up the middle.
Said they wouldn't be afraid to go 13 personnel as well, sometimes with 3 tight ends. Highshaw with a cut up the middle. He got a yard, but that's it, and it brings up 4th down. What are you thinking here, Robert? Keep the offense on the field?
Yeah, I think you've got, well, here I am watching them bring the offense up to the field. I'm like,
buying some time,
well,
huh?
I think they're going to go for it. I'm saying that as they're coming out to the field. Yeah, I think why not? I mean, you know, you're playing at home. You started off with great field position. And the guys up front, you want to give them a little bit of confidence, tell them that you have some confidence, and here they are getting Grun, the tight end, into the backfield.
Play action. Daniels has time, snaps it over the middle. It is caught. Levi wins. Touchdown, Kansas. Yards from Daniels to Wentz on 4th and 1 to open the scoring in Lawrence.
Always do what they're not expecting. You're going to bring Wentz right into the middle of the field and just sit him down. And with everybody expecting run linebacker level, safety level, everybody comes up. Wentz gets lost, and with that speed, nobody's able to get near him.
All they needed was a yard. They end up getting 41 from Daniels to Wentz. The point after from Marjan is through, and Kansas has now scored an opening drive touchdown on 3 of the first 4 games this season.
Rock, chalk, Jayhawk. That's the way you get it done. 4th down, no problem. How about 6? Jayhawks up 7-0.
Nothing. Kansas on an opening drive touchdown for the 3rd time in 4 weeks, and Levi Wentz was wide open, Robert.
Yeah, and what you didn't see here at the beginning of the play, he went into motion, and this is something that Jim Zabrowski talked about, bringing in Matt Lubick to help with the offense. Motion causes emotion. It also causes defenses to lose number counts. Number counts are important in the coverage, and he just gets completely lost. They follow or get extra players to the flat, and he's wide open.
It's also the first touchdown that West Virginia's defense has allowed in the first quarter this season. So now the West Virginia offense, who went 3 and out, were not able to pick up a first down on that opening drive, comes back out in the field facing a 7-0 deficit.
Yeah, and they're going to get creative with that backfield situation. You know, you've got a guy like Ty Edwards who isn't in the game. He wasn't on that first series. I don't think we're going to see him, and he's a bigger back. You got Clay Ash, former walk-on, tough guy, and he's a small guy, less than 5'10", 200 pounds.
They do give it to Ash on the opening play of the drive, and he is stacked up after a short pickup of just 2 by Lyric Rawls in from his safety position.
Well, early days here, but now you've got 2nd and 8, and you just want to be careful. Down 7-0 in a game. You want to get a nice chunk here on 2nd down. You don't want to leave yourself with 3rd and long.
2nd down, Markiel zips it over the middle. That's pulled in by Justin Smith-Brown to move the chains for the first time today for West Virginia.
Yeah, and this is what we heard from Rich Rodriguez. He said that young batch of wide receivers, he was impressed with what those guys could do. Nice catch there. Contested catch in coverage from Brown.
Ash slipped, and he's tripped up by Dean Miller, who had the sack to end the last drive.
And you're going to see just you cut off of that inside foot, you get a little bit of pressure there, and that's, you're always told, got to make that cut off the outside foot.
Cam Vaughn, team's leading receiver for the Mountaineers, hops out of the way of 1, and then he got smashed by about 4 Jayhawks defenders at the 44.
Boy, all kinds of moves from Cam Vaughn, and you called it, Parker. He escaped the first 2 tacklers and invited about 4 more to join the party.
This is sometimes the problem with as quickly as West Virginia goes. A full start here will back up the Mountaineers on what is already 3rd down.
Offense number 52, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
Going to be Nick Cray, the left tackle, that gets called for it. It's the tempo, but it's also the noise in here.
Yeah.
It was nice. Have a little bit of Metallica, a little bit of noise as we're doing the open. Tough to hear you. Those are just great environments when you can barely hear yourself think in the open.
Third down. Markiel fires. Oh, nearly picked off. Saeed Gibbs nearly had the interception for the Jayhawks, but it is still fourth down.
Yeah, and you're going to get stop here. He doesn't come back to the ball, but he just works back to it. Nice job, but generally speaking, you want to come back down in the stem, help your quarterback out.
Tate Nagy back to return the punt. He had a 30-yard return last time to set up Kansas and great field possession. Uses a fair catch here. It is 7-0 Kansas. Jayhawks already up 7-0, and that's where the Jayhawks sit now at 2-1. LeShawn Williams' first carry of the day. He's out to the 30 for 5 yards.
Yeah, that offensive line doing a tremendous job up front, creating all kinds of space, and this is what they weren't able to do against Missouri, and why they got a little bit pass heavy in that game. Jim Zebrowski said they, quite frankly, just couldn't handle those guys up front. Here, early goings against West Virginia, but doing a nice job creating some creases.
He said, we're going to go with what's working. The pass game was working against Missouri, he said, but the run game has to be better this week. Daniels throws on the run, and that's too tall for Emmanuel Henderson Jr., the Alabama transfer.
Boy, and that's one of those decisions Jim Zebrowski talks about, and that's the difference between the good ones and the great ones. They're more often than not they're going to make the right decisions here. He had a great opportunity to just keep this ball and run for the first down. But you can see gets a little bit too much on that, throws it a little bit late, doesn't have his feet set, and just throws it a little bit high.
Just one completion so far today for Jalen Daniels, but it was a 41-yard touchdown. Daniels pumps, escapes right side, has a lot of space, spins, picks up the first down. That is the electrifying running ability of Jalen Daniels.
And such great instincts as a runner, and just a sense for where that first down marker is. And watch the little spin to the inside that he makes at the end of this run to pick up just enough. A little B button action right there. Boop! See that move to the inside? That's the noise you got to make when you make that kind of cut.
7 yards for Daniels on a 3rd and 5 to keep this drive going. Leighton Cure in motion into the backfield. This is Williams stretching left side. Short pickup on his first touch. LeShawn Williams, an Iowa transfer, spent 5 years as a Hawkeye. Was honorable mention All Big Ten 2 years ago. Comes here to Kansas for his final year, where he's splitting carries with Daniel Highshaw.
Yeah, and Zebrowski said he's that one-cut guy, but he can also move some piles.
Fake it to him. Daniels into the flat. It's caught by Henderson. Oh, he lost it. Ball was on the ground. Kokora Tarnu was the one who whisked the ball away from Henderson for a moment.
Well, nothing fancy on the outside. You watch that move back to the inside. That ball's going to come loose. And he's able to secure it. Yeah, they knocked that ball loose. Henderson fortunate. They're able to hang on to that one. Got 2 players in motion there. Now they got to get set.
3rd down, Williams. There is nothing going. Great penetration from that West Virginia front to stop him for maybe a yard.
Yeah, Reed Carrico, the transfer from Ohio State, from his linebacker spot, coming from the backside on that play, able to shoot a gap and shut that thing down. And the Jayhawks are going to punt, or at least line up in punt formation. You never know.
You never know. Are you calling something? You calling your shot there?
Only if they do it.
I like that answer. If I'm right, yes. If I'm wrong, no. Lappin does punt it away. Rodney Gallagher calls for the fair catch inside the 10, so Kansas is able to flip the field. West Virginia and Rich Rodriguez's team at 2-1, trying to open Big 12 play with a win. Sincere Bowers, his first carry. So we've seen Clay Ash and Sincere Bowers now, Robert. We have not seen Ty Edwards. We knew he was a game-time decision, but 141 yards and 3 touchdowns from last week is a big loss.
It certainly is a big loss. We talk about injuries being a problem for depth on your team, but especially when you have multiple injuries stacking up at one position. We talked about Jaheim White being out, Edwards out today as well.
Marchiol climbing the pocket, fakes once, and he got crushed. John Kamara came in there to plant Marchiol and bring up third down.
How about John Kamara, the redshirt freshman, had a good year Arizona, an athletic redshirt freshman.
Empty set on third down, and they're going to blow the play dead. What looks like a false start, which will make this third down even that much more difficult.
I think it's the right side of that line.
Number 56, 5-yard penalty, correction, half the distance to the goal, third down.
It's a right guard. Mountaineers got a little bit early. You can see they're bringing the pressure look. He's going to jump out of his stance just a little bit early. So offensive lineman, bit of an athletic mismatch. They like to get out of that stance as soon as they can.
3rd and 12. Marchiol from his own end zone. Pass is batted down at the line of scrimmage. So for the second time in the first 3 drives, it's a 3 and out for the West Virginia offense.
Watch. Going to circle back in. Lines up on the outside. They get a little stunt there. Defensive coordinator DK McDonald, he talked about the way that these guys have kind of been designing some of their own stunts. He said, hey, I want this to be their defense. He said, we need to clean it up a little bit sometimes, but it worked that time.
Oliver Straw on to punt it. Tate Nagy from just outside midfield, hopping around and got drilled at midfield. 48-yard punt from Straw. Jalen Daniels and the Kansas offense up 7-0, coming back out on the field after this.
This field belongs.
The rematch of what was the 1988 Rose Bowl. Rodney Peete was a quarterback at USC then, 7 years before you were born-ish. But they had played it in the regular season, and Michigan State won that Rose Bowl, 20-17.
Fake the reverse. Daniels to throw, drops it off, and that is right through the hands. Incomplete, looking for his tight end, Carson Brune. I'm a firm believer, Robert, on a college football Saturday. Start as early as possible and finish as late as possible. Give me football as much as you can possibly give me all day long.
Yeah, no question about it. It's just so much fun. Now, when we have games like this, I don't really care what's going on in the games early, because these are the only 2 teams in the universe that matter until after the game for me. But yeah, I couldn't agree more, man. It's just so great during the football season.
Harry Stewart is the running back lined up, the 3rd different Jayhawk in the backfield, but before the snap, the play is blown dead on a false start.
And maybe the left tackle here wanted to get moving a little bit early.
False start. Offense number 75, 5-yard penalty, second down.
That's Calvin Clements.
Yeah, big old Calvin Clements from right here in Lawrence. You can see he's going to be pulling, and he's going to be like, okay, well, if I'm going to be pulling, I'm going to go ahead and get moving a little bit early. Big redshirt sophomore, and they're real excited about him. They say he's a big kid. He's a very, very big kid. Just got going a touch early.
Williams bouncing right side, was able to shed a couple tackles before he got yanked to the ground at the 45. Got a couple of those penalty yards back, but it still brings up a 3rd and long for the Jayhawks.
Boy, so tough to overcome those kind of penalties, and you know, credit to this West Virginia defense. We saw early some gashes from this Kansas offense. They were really able to get some movement up front. But really that front and that linebacker level combining, defensive coordinator Zach Ellie making some quick adjustments, and they're giving these solid looks up front.
Daniels with protection, steps up, takes off, fires on the run, and it is just too tall for Levi Wentz, who would have had the first down.
And this is the second time that we've seen from Jalen Daniels. He does like to run. He likes to keep his eyes downfield, but we've seen him overthrow 2 times now when he runs. And look, if you're Josh Allen, you're Lamar Jackson, you're Patrick Mahomes, you can make those kind of throws on the run in your sleep. You see he's going to his left and throwing it back, and he's got to kind of get those hips turned. Mechanics are a little bit off, ball's a little bit high.
So after a touchdown drive to start, it's been 2 in a row that have stalled out for Kansas. Oh, they nearly got back to Finn Lappin. Gallagher calls for the fair catch, and he reels it in at the 17. Well, 3 drives for this Kansas defense, and they've gone 2 3-and-outs and really haven't allowed anything for this West Virginia offense.
Yeah, we talk about DK McDonald, that defensive coordinator. What a tremendous job he's done. Lance Leipold talked about him and the way that he prepares his guys and detail-oriented. So he's going to be a head coach one day, and he just gets a lot out of these guys. But they've got some tremendous players that not only know the scheme well, but they just play with a high level of intensity.
Only 28 total yards on the first 3 drives for West Virginia's offense. Markiel has time, spits it out into the flat, and that's reeled in by Aran Singleton, his 3rd catch of the season, but immediately slips to the ground.
It's just the accuracy or the importance of accuracy. You get that throw in front of him, and he can't catch and run on that. Cost you a bunch of yards.
Singleton. So after the catch, they give it to him in the ground game. He picks up a couple yards, and it's Jalen Dye, the safety, who makes the tackle.
Well, it's clear they want to get the ball into Singleton's hands and see what they can do again here. So many 3-and-outs in a row. Credit to the Kansas defense, but West Virginia's got to get going.
Markiel down the seam, and that is a little bit high for Cam Vaughn. It is a 3rd 3-and-out in the first 4 drives for Nico Markiel in West Virginia.
Yeah, just going to be a little miss. He's going to throw the ball behind Vaughn. We've seen Vaughn. Vaughn's made catches similar to this season. That one just way too high and behind for him to get an opportunity to pull that one in.
Back-to-back 3-and-outs brings the punt unit on for West Virginia down a touchdown. Oliver Straw to punt it away to Tate Nagy, the son of Matt Nagy, the Kansas City Chiefs offensive coordinator, who already has a 30-yard return today. Reverses course to the sideline, and he gets tripped up near the 35. This return is just 5 yards for Nagy.
And we got to give a little bit of love to the Aussie punter, too, Oliver Straw. That play that he had in the backyard brawl against Pitt, where he caught the ball in the end zone, the one-handed snag. That would have been a safety. Would have changed the complexion of the game tremendously. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. Come on, you're supposed to say oi, oi, oi. Come on.
Got you next time.
Yeah, okay.
Drive starts at 34 for Jalen Daniels, who threw a 41-yard touchdown pass on the opening drive to Levi Wentz, but 2 drives that have stalled out since then. Williams straight up the middle, slips past 1, and he gets taken down at the 38 for 4 yards.
Well, it's a nice situation to be in. You get a nice chunk like that, and that's your goal, really. You want to get 4 yards on first down, cut that thing in half at the very least. On second down, leave a nice, manageable 3rd down situation.
Low snap, gets past Daniels, tried to pick it up, couldn't, ball's still loose, and now there's a pile on it inside the 25. This could be a massive break for West Virginia. But instead, it's Kansas football stays with the Jayhawks on a 3rd and a mile coming up.
Yeah, and Bryce Foster, 5th-year senior, center, just a little bit low and left with that snap, and a lot of opportunities there. You can see Carrico, a couple of other players on that West Virginia defense had an opportunity to corral that ball, and now your third and forever call. Watch the draw, watch the screen, they're saying on defense.
Conservative play call indeed. They give to Williams. He got crunched near the 30 by Asani Redwood.
Well, we've seen the self-inflicted wounds from both of these teams, especially Kansas with some penalties, the bad snap there. You're getting those really long third 15-plus type situations, just really tough to find anything in the playbook to make a reasonable call. And this is why special teams can be so important. You got to make sure the snaps are good. You got to make sure the blocking's good. You got to make sure that the coverage is good too. Like they may be going for a block here.
Gallagher lets it bounce, picks it up on the hop at the 20, and he is swung to the ground immediately after a 51-yard punt from Finn Lappin. Kansas with an immediate touchdown on their opening drive, but since then the offenses have not been able to do much. And give credit to the defenses, and you have through these last 3 or 4 drives.
Yeah, after that first drive, it was like, oh, here we go. It's going to be the light show. This is going to be high-scoring affair. Still may happen.
First play of the drive, Markiel with an empty backfield. It's a designed quarterback run, and there's nothing going. Maybe a yard.
Boy, an unusual looking play right there, and this is what happens when you prepare for one situation with running back and Ty Edwards you're expecting, and he's injured, of course.
Now it's Clay Ash, the running back, who's tripped up after pickup 1. It's 3rd and 8 coming up. Rich Rodriguez's team here struggled on 3rd down today. Markiel spun to the ground again. It's a 3rd straight 3 and out for West Virginia. Bengali Kamara got back there to Markiel. Lance Leipold's defense has been spectacular today. 5 drives, 4 of them have ended in a 3 and out. His offense, meanwhile, got that opening drive 41-yard touchdown from Jalen Daniels to Levi Wentz, but not a lot going since then. Line drive punt from Straw. Tate Nagy lets it bounce, and it will be really solid starting field position for Kansas just outside of the 40.
Oh, credit to Kansas defense, but I think this West Virginia offense certainly looks different without their 2 top running backs in White and Edwards.
Especially after Edwards went 141 yards and 3 touchdowns last week in the backyard brawl win. Daniels floats it over the top for Emmanuel Henderson. Or rather, that's Cam Pickett with the catch, his first of the day. And he's right near the line to gain.
And this is something to watch with Jalen Daniels today. We saw a couple misses high, and that's been his preferred miss, if you will, of the day. Cam Pickett able to corral that one. And that's just the little details, right? Especially when you're a running quarterback, sometimes feet don't get set, and that's the greatest source of inconsistency.
Harry Stewart's first carry has the first down into West Virginia territory for 5 yards. It's Fred Perry who came in to apply the hit, but not until after the Jayhawks moved the chains.
A nice little cut to the outside. Just try and keep that one a little bit tighter to the line. He sees that movement inside and gains a little bit too much ground getting outside. You're getting too close to those tacklers. You want to stay close to your lineman, hug inside, keep that thing vertical.
Daniels into the flat. This is Emmanuel Henderson curling outside of the perimeter. He gets ripped out of bounds, but it's enough for a first down for Kansas.
Yeah, and Wentz and Kubica on the outside doing a nice job blocking. You like to see that from your wide receivers. You want to catch the ball, got to throw some blocks. Emmanuel Henderson, the beneficiary of his partners in the wide receiver room, getting the job done on the outside.
He doesn't get that first down without those blocks. Daniels, screen, it's caught. Henderson down to the 30. He was really close to being down immediately. He had to go down to a knee to make that catch, but got it up just in time to be able to get some yards after the catch.
Well, you're right, partner. We're gonna take a look here. We'll see if that knee does get down to the ground. It looks like it's on the ground, actually, when he catches it. We'll see if they'll take another look at that thing. Replay, maybe whistling this one dead. There it is.
There it is, yep. And I got a feeling this is going to be overturned.
Ruling on the field was a catch.
Yeah, and of course the question is the knee down when he catches the ball? It certainly goes down at some point, but does he get it back up before he secures the catch? And we'll go frame by frame. Watch that left knee. Looks like he has the ball right there. That looks like the catch.
Yeah.
And of course, you don't have the benefit of time. Like you have to secure it for a long enough time when it has to count as a catch. But I'm guessing here, Steve.
Yeah, that's pretty clear that he has control, knee on the ground with a significant yardage gain. Replay is going to look at that and put that back to about the 41-yard line.
Woo. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate that. It's what we were seeing, too. And so that's going to be wiping away a gain of what was 6 and ends up being a loss of about 3, if that's what it ends up being.
And again, we talk about the importance of accuracy. Now look, Henderson didn't have to go down to a knee to get that one, but get that thing up a little bit higher, and there's no doubt about it, and we're expecting
after further
a reversal
review,
here.
The receiver was down when he made the catch at the 40-yard line. It'll be second down.
So Henderson the catch, but with that knee down, that means the play is dead immediately. Take him back to the 40.
It's like, why can't this be a Sunday in professional football?
So instead of a gain of 6, it turns into a loss of 4, and now it's second down and 14 for Kansas. Have picked up a couple first downs on this drive and driving into West Virginia territory.
All kinds of space. Would love to see Daniels out here.
Daniels throws it that way instead. It's pulled in near the 40. That's a short pickup. Deshaun Hanukkah, the tight end, with the reception.
Oh, a great tackle there by Fred Perry, and they talk about how physical he is. He's that Swiss Army knife for that defense. You can see him lined up everywhere, and this is why they love having him down in the box. You can see the textbook wrap and tackle. One of those guys that came over from Jacksonville State with the staff.
Third and long, Kansas just 1 for 5 today. Daniels seeing pressure, steps up, wide open space. First down, slides to the ground, and he got smoked. And there is some extracurriculars with about 6 flags down on the field.
Yeah, and it looks like that's going to be Fred Perry, who we just talked about with the targeting. And once the quarterback goes into that slide, he's considered a defenseless player, so no forcible hits to the head or neck area. And I think that's what we're going to see on the replay here.
Fred Perry with the hit that drew several flags and then extracurriculars between the two teams to follow.
Oh yeah,
Man.
I mean, you just got to know better. And it looks like it almost gets helmet to helmet there as well. Look, I know you want to get those hits, but you know that he's going into the slide there, and defensive players are always say, we got to run so far, and we got too many rules, all that kind of stuff. I'm not buying any of that. They like to hit players when they're not looking, and of course, you can't even hit defenders, block defenders when they're not looking anymore. But that's a whole
After the
subject.
play was over, personal foul. Defense number 5 with targeting. That player is disqualified. The previous play is under further review. Also on the play, personal foul, late hit. Offense number 70. Those fouls offset. The previous play is under further review.
Lance Leipold beside himself right now.
That's Kobe Baines, the right guard. But if the penalty is offset, you're going to have 3rd and 12 still. Of course, both of those dead ball fouls after the play is over. And I think it's pretty clear that
So here's the hit that has Fred Perry ejected from this game for targeting right there, right up on the head and neck area of the quarterback who was already into his slide, Jalen Daniels. And then Kobe Baines comes in, number 70, bottom of your screen at the end. That's what he gets called for a penalty right there.
Well, these are both being dead ball fouls. The play is going to count, and boy, Jalen Daniels, when that hit came in from Fred Perry, his head hit the ground.
Yeah.
That could be so dangerous. I'm surprised they're still looking at this.
Yeah, it feels like that one would be pretty quick.
I mean, not only is it a hit to the head and neck area, it looked helmet to helmet as well, which it doesn't even have to be if it's a defenseless player. Any hit to the head or neck area with a defenseless player, and of course the quarterback in the slide like that is considered defenseless. So a little bit surprised it's taking that long. They want to get it right.
I'm wondering if they might be checking to see if there's anything else. Yeah, maybe yardage, or if there's anyone else that, penalty or ejection or something. But I would think you take one look at this and say, yeah, that's targeting from Fred Perry. Great to see Jalen Daniels up and throwing the football right now, though.
After further review, the targeting foul in number 5 for West Virginia is upheld. He's disqualified for the remainder of the game. The ball will be placed at the 24-yard line. Both dead ball fouls will offset. It'll be first down.
So as we imagine, Fred Perry ejected from this game, targeting on a defenseless player and Jalen Daniels. They do pick up the first down. The ball's at the 24 now for the Jayhawks.
Yeah, so with it both being dead ball fouls, of course, they get the first down. You just don't get that extra yardage tacked on to the end of the run. But as you said, partner, seeing Jalen Daniels back up and in the huddle, it's a great sight. And it's a big loss for this defense. Fred Perry is really a key part of what that defense can be. They talk about how aggressive he is, and they even said it. He's just as likely to get a tackle for loss as he is a personal foul.
LeShawn Williams to that left side, and he gets back to the line of scrimmage. That's it. Yeah, you're talking about Fred Perry, the team's leading tackler. He's great in the pass game as well with a couple pass breakups this season. It's a massive loss the rest of this way for West Virginia.
And I know that there's been a lot of discussion about the penalty and the severity of the ejection, but especially at the college level, people that don't have to pay the liability always want the rule taken away.
Fake the handoff to the end zone. He was looking for Emmanuel Henderson. It's broken up by Michael Coates. who the defensive coordinator, Zach Alley, said that is by far our best cornerback.
He said he's the best cornerback, and he said, you know, just ask Michael Coates Jr. and he'll tell you he's the fastest. But no, he does a tremendous job. And what I love is the body control that Michael Coates exhibits here. Doesn't interfere with Henderson, just contorts that body to get that hand in there to knock that pass away. And try and create that one-on-one over here.
Daniels looking middle, steps up left side, throws against his body to the sideline in the end zone, and it's incomplete. It was Levi Wentz who pulled the pass in, but he was out of bounds.
Go with this little post flag. See, he moves into the inside, and that's exactly what they were doing. You try and get that defense to shift over, get all those defenders over to the right to isolate Wentz, and that throw's just a little bit late. Wentz does a really nice job pulling that ball in, but by the time Daniels got the ball away, just no space left before he went out of bounds.
Field goal unit on Laith Marjan, who's hit from as long as 47 this year. This one from 42, and it is good. 2-score lead for Kansas after the Laith Marjan field goal. It's 10-0 Jayhawks. Lance Leipold's team up early second quarter. First half. Flies over the head of Rodney Gallagher for a touchback. All right, here we are, Robert. It's been one punt after another for West Virginia. 5 drives, 5 punts. What does Nico Marchiol and this West Virginia offense have to do right now?
Well, I think what they've been trying to do is get the ball into their playmakers' hands on the outside. We saw Cam Vaughn, man, Singleton. They tried to get it to him a number of ways, and the run game, unfortunately, just isn't there. I mean, you had Jaheim White out a couple weeks ago, the injury against Ohio. Ty Edwards, who had such a great game against Pitt, out today as well.
This is Sincere Bowers off the pitch, and he gets sandwiched down across the 25 for 2 yards. You're talking about what has turned into your top 2 running backs not being available for this game, so you go to your 3rd and 4th string guys now for the Mountaineers. Also without 3 of their top receivers. Marchiol snaps it to the right side. That's Cam Vaughn, the leading receiver for West Virginia, but he got hit as soon as he caught it by Saeed Gibbs.
Yeah, we've called Gibbs' name a couple times today, making a lot of plays. Redshirt junior is so physical on that back end.
Caught out of the backfield. Bowers spins away. It's enough to pick up a first down as he tiptoes that sideline all the way down near midfield. 23 yards to keep the drive going for Bowers.
We talk about Sincere, and they said he's that guy he's that home run hitter. Is that nice spin late back to the inside. That was the difference there, and you can see the slow substitution by the Kansas defense.
Trying to slow down this tempo that is West Virginia. They ran 97 plays a week ago against Pitt in the backyard brawl. And Rich Rod told us earlier this week, Robert, the more plays that they can possibly run on offense, they think it gives them an advantage.
Yeah, unless you're not getting first down. So nice job by Bowers actually picking one of those up.
Marchiol hit as he throws. He just threw it away. 3rd and 9 coming up.
Boy, Marchiol was waiting a long time on that throw, waiting for his receiver to turn around. Sometimes you got to get rid of that thing a little bit sooner, and he knows he's going to be taking a big hit. Nice job standing in there.
West Virginia just 1 for 6 on 3rd down. Marchiol hit as he throws. Bowers lost it. There is no whistle, and finally at the very end, one of the officials comes in to blow the play dead. It was Dean Miller that had the hit on Nico Marchiol.
Yeah, and DK McDonald, the defensive coordinator, talked about, you know, sometimes you get that amoeba defense, and what that means is guys are just kind of free-flowing around, and it's really tough for the offensive line to identify who their responsibility is. So you get all those guys lined up, moving around just a little bit at the beginning of the play. Then at the snap, you get a lot of twists and movement. And you end up with free runners on your quarterback.
Dean Miller's been so good today. A sack, a tackle for loss, now the hit that forced the incompletion. And the 6th punt of the day by Oliver Straw is fair caught, and that brings out the Kansas offense after the Kansas defense gets a stop.
Drop whatever you're doing right now.
Well, Rich Rod's offense struggling right now. 6 drives, all of them have ended in punts. 4 of them have been 3 and outs. They just can't figure out this Kansas defense right now, Robert.
No, they really can't. And, credit DK McDonald, defensive coordinator for Kansas. He does a tremendous job. Not that West Virginia, Zach Ellie, they're known to give a lot of looks too, but they're really changing things up with the looks and being down to your 3rd and 4th running backs. I think maybe now it's time to try and get the tight ends active.
LeShawn Williams tries to escape one, but he got stood up by Curtis Jones Jr. They were able to pick up 1 first down last drive, able to flip the field after the punt, so finally have Kansas backed up against their own goal line.
They talked about Curtis Jones Jr. and playing that bandit position. They said he's that most improved player. Put on 20 pounds this year. Playing that bandit, it could be anything. It could be a Sam, a Mike, a rush end, Swiss Army knife with some size.
Another carry that's straight up the middle, and Williams got crunched at the 10. Yeah, you asked Zach Alley, the defensive coordinator, what do you ask from your bandit? And he said one word, everything.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, how much time do you guys have left in the meeting here? We'll run down the list of things that we ask. Got to be able to change tires, plaster walls. No, it is great. Just a football player, but you could see just with the energy too. Those young players like that, and all these guys are really freshmen to this program with Rich Rod in his first year back.
Daniels to throw for the first time this drive. Maneuvers through the pocket, flushed right, stops and has nowhere to go with it. Incomplete. West Virginia's defense gets a stop, and they force a 3 and out of their own.
Yeah, and a much more disciplined rush. You go back a couple weeks, that Ohio game, and they were really losing contain on the quarterback there. Jalen Daniels, so fast. But if you're disciplined and you rush as a unit, don't get past him, and somebody maintains contain, you at least have a chance, as long as you can cover on the back end for 5 or 6 seconds.
7 combined 3 and outs between the two teams. Gallagher calls for the fair catch. This is the best starting field position West Virginia has had today at their own 43. See if Nico Marchiol and the offense can get something rolling.
The Triple Dipper, only at Chili's.
You were kind enough to give us a tour of it yesterday, Robert, and I know that we both thought it was gorgeous.
Yeah, and got that new facility smell, which you love, but I think the technology, it's really cool, and I know that Lance Leipold and his staff, they've really dug into kind of all of the science and the latest data tracking on players. They've got all the bells and whistles in the facility. And again, for a football program that, quite frankly, at least, in a lot of Big 12 circles was kind of a laughing stock from a facility standpoint. Great to see the new buildings.
Nico Marchiol on the first play of this drive slings it in there. It's caught by Jeff Weimer, his first of the season, 18 yards and a first down.
5th-year senior, and Marchiol patient back there, but he was allowed to be patient because he had a little bit of protection that time. He slings that thing in there to Weimer, 5th-year senior out of Salinas, California. Previously been at Idaho State.
Fakes the handoff. It's a screen pass that's caught by Aran Singleton, his second of the day, and Taylor Davis drags him down at the 35.
Well, your thinking is, if you've got a Rich Rodriguez coach team that eventually, offensively, they're going to figure it out.
Gone back-to-back passes. Now Markiel wants to make it 3 in a row to start the drive, and he's got 3 completions. Ryan Ward moves the chains, and this West Virginia offense looks completely different than it did in the first 6 drives.
Yeah, another one of those young players. Big tight end, 6'4", 240 redshirt freshman, and now Kansas with the big guy substitution taking their time. Look at that.
Anything to slow it down, right?
It looks like it's in slow motion as I'm looking at the field here.
This time they go to the ground. Clay Ash, it's the first carry of the drive for West Virginia, who's now into the red zone.
And they've really mixed it up well on this drive. They've gotten the ball to the outside. They say you want to make the big guys run and the little guys tackle. Gets those big guys up front worn out.
Singleton on the ground. That's the second time in this first half, Robert, they've got a pass to him and then followed it up with him running the football. They want to get him touches.
Well, clearly, he's an athletic player, playmaker.
Ash, took a hit. John Kamara leveled him.
Boy, and John Kamara, just perfect technique on that play. Kind of sees where the play is developing, but just squeezes in the proper way. Don't close down too fast, running back and pop it outside, able to make a great play.
Second down, Bowers. Into the middle, got about a yard.
Boy, you can see kind of the setup for a little QB run potentially there. You had 2 pullers going to the right, or to the left, excuse me. The ball went to the right. We'll see if we have something similar where the quarterback keeps it.
Markiel on a 3rd and 7. Hit as he throws, just got rid of the football in time to bring up 4th down.
It's Marcus Calvin right here, and nobody blocks him. Just a little mix-up up front. And Rich Rodriguez, he talked about this being the first year in the offense for so many of these guys. All freshmen to the system. Most important thing for the offensive line, agree on what you see and how you're supposed to block it.
26-yarder from Cade Hensley is through, and West Virginia is on the board with 3:43 to go before halftime. An animated Rich Rodriguez. His team gets 3, but they were on the doorstep of getting 6 instead.
But you got to feel, I mean, as long as he's been around the game and as many situations as he's seen, quarterback changes, offensive changes, new programs, he's got to feel pretty good about that last drive, especially after so many 3-and-outs on the day. And they clearly think that they have something established. And of course, that's a chess match that can be so fun because DK McDonald, the defensive coordinator from Kansas, saying, okay, you think we're going to come out this way? And both of these defensive coordinators, both DK McDonald and Zach Alley, just known for changing up all kinds of looks and bringing all kinds of exotic pressures.
West Virginia does get 3, though, and they pull it within a possession. 3:43 to go before halftime. Emmanuel Henderson from the 2 on the return. Has has a hole, squeezes through it. He's across the 35, and he just gets wrapped up at the ankles, shy of the 45. It's a 42-yard return.
That's the way you get it done. Man, remember the return early in the game, first play of the game, or early punt return, got them some great field position, and here, that late spin almost got out of that one for 6.
Henderson's longest kick return of the season sets up Kansas with great field position to start right before halftime. Williams breaks loose of a couple tackles, and he's down to the 47 in West Virginia territory for 9 yards.
Well, this is the danger if you're Zach Elliott, the defensive coordinator. You want to kind of give that penny-type front, cover up all the linemen, make them choose, but it becomes very important at the second and third level of your defense for those guys to be there to make those tackles, or else some big runs can break off.
Screen pass, got it out to Henderson with the catch. He's got the first down, squeezes between a couple defenders inside the 40.
Well, he's got that little spin down too, right? That B-button action, it's hot today. Elevates to get the catch. That late spin through contact. That's what you're taught as a running back, to spin through contact, and apparently the receiver room picks up on that too.
An Alabama transfer. He was one of the highly recruited wide receivers out of his high school class. Went there to Alabama, didn't have a big impact in the offense, did in the special teams, but he comes here to Kansas and he's been the top receiver through 3 games. Daniels fakes the option, has a man, it's caught. LeSean Williams, touchdown Kansas. A 39-yard strike from Jalen Daniels to LeSean Williams to give Kansas a 2-score lead again.
Famous offensive coordinator Greg Roman says it's not play action unless you're pulling an offensive lineman. They get Kobe Baines pulling on that play, and that misdirection is enough to open it up for LeSean Williams, leaking out on the backside. And that's Jamori Robinson that gets matched up. Big Jamori Robinson finally healthy at 6'4", 250 pounds, ends up trying to cover a running back out of the backfield. Kansas able to exploit that mismatch for the touchdown.
A quick response after West Virginia got its first 3 of the day. All it takes Kansas is 3 plays to go 56 yards, a minute and 24 seconds off the clock, and the first receiving touchdown of the season for LeSean Williams.
Boy, I love all of the action that they get. You get motion to the outside, then you get a little bit of orbit motion, and then running back on the left side now of Jalen Daniels, and he's going to leak all the way up the field, but it's all that eye candy, and that's why you do that motion. As they say, again, motion causes emotion, and it changes number counts, and, you know, defenses are really predicated from a coverage standpoint. Okay, well, I've got number 2, I've got number 3, they number from the outside, and then all of a sudden that running back lined up on the opposite side of the quarterback, he becomes that first player out on the other side, but you see all that eye candy, you see that offensive lineman pull. And as linebackers, they're taught to read their keys. Okay, well, if my lineman pulls, I got to get my eyes and expect run on the other side. And that's why play action with offensive linemen pulling can be so effective.
Well, Zach Alley, the defensive coordinator for West Virginia, told us earlier this week that eye candy, that movement pre-snap and even post-snap sometimes is the biggest challenge he thought that Kansas's offense presented to them today, and it's shown that much.
Yeah, it certainly has. And, you know, one of the things that he said, especially with this offense having the bye week, you know, you can only prepare for so much. And they had a little bit of extra time, put in those new wrinkles.
West Virginia's offense finally got something going last drive. They were able to get 3 points out of it after they had gone 6 drives, 6 punts prior to that. There is a West Virginia Mountaineer down on the ground after this first play. And it's Landon Livingston, the starting center for the Mountaineers.
And I think the running back, this happens on so many plays. The running back just kind of rolled up on his legs. And you just hate to see that. Redshirt junior. Indiana.
Leo, Indiana, about 25, 30 minutes from where I grew up. There it is.
Yep, and he was just blocking there, and thought I saw that in live action.
Rich Rodriguez out there to take a look at his starting center, Landon Livingston. On a play where he just got rolled up on by the running back.
Yeah, Carson Lee is next on the depth chart. Super senior. Been at Eastern Michigan. Number 55. We'll see if he's in there now.
Livingston being helped off the field by the athletic training staff for West Virginia. You said a Carson Lee, the backup center, in to replace him now.
Well, you just hate to see that with a player that needs to be helped off the field, not getting off under his own power.
Does bring us to the 2-minute warning here in Lawrence with Kansas up 2 touchdowns.
If Jerry knew football.
Country, many thought they could be the favorite to win a national title this year, but it has not started that way through the first month. Final 2 minutes here in Lawrence in the first half, and Markiel slings it to Rodney Gallagher, who just got a foot down inbounds for a first down.
Boy, nifty footwork and body control from Gallagher. He's that guy, man. He can pretty much do anything. See him on jet sweeps. He's a tremendous playmaker.
Markiel gets it out quickly. It's caught by Grayson Barnes, the tight end, and he ducks down at the 45 for about 8, maybe 9.
Well, I expect Kansas to be playing a little bit off, but you can't just keep giving up those kind of chunks. Plenty of time here for West Virginia. 3 timeouts, minute 50.
Markiel rolls left, floats it over the top. That's nearly intercepted into triple coverage. Jalen Todd got his hand on it.
Yeah, Markiel was just late on that throw. You have to be able to trust your wide receiver, Weimer, on that. You could just see that one developing. He threw that so late, gave the safety an opportunity to come over, and the corner an opportunity to sink. Almost 2 guys. 2 guys had an opportunity to intercept that one. Got to convert here.
It's 3rd and short with just over a minute and a half before halftime as West Virginia trying to get some points on the board going to the break. Markiel coming left again, and he connects with Gallagher for a first down. Clock stops while the chains move.
Well, I like what they did there. Markiel goes up to the line of scrimmage. You get that initial look for the defense, and then you shift your offense. Let the defense think you're going to go somewhere and come back the other way.
Incomplete. It was Todd in there again, who had a hit on the receiver immediately.
Man, talk about Jalen Todd. He's such great body control. Pass break up against Missouri a couple weeks ago. You can just tell he's one of those kind of guys, just a sophomore, but just great body control, knows how to break up a pass without getting there early or interfering.
A true sophomore. He was playing a lot as a true freshman a season ago. This time the pass is caught by Jeff Weimer with Jalen Todd in coverage on him. Lyric rolls, applied a hit in there late.
He's a fifth-year senior out of Marshall, Texas. They talk about how vocal and physical he is and how he plays with a chip on his shoulder, and he had an opportunity there to get the cleanup work on Weimer. Well, I thought they would have given him the progress on that play.
Instead, it was only 5 yards, and it brings up 3rd and 5. Markiel spits it out. That's his running back, Clay Ash, out of the backfield, who got a couple yards, and it brings up 4th down.
Well, you want to know if I think they're going for it?
Yes, I do. Tell me, what do you think?
Yeah, I didn't think there was any doubt that they'd be going for this one. 47 seconds left, but they want to think about it.
West Virginia will call a timeout. 45 seconds to go before halftime. Ball at the 37 for Rich Rodriguez's team. Down 14 right before halftime. These last 2 drives have felt a little bit different, Robert, and a lot of it's been through the pass game with Nico Markiel.
Yeah, it certainly has. A lot of them have been catch and throw, a little bit of misdirection. I think that's really opened things up for Nico Markiel. And Kansas has backed off of some of the pressure that they were bringing, and when they do bring the pressure, as you can see right there, West Virginia's offensive line doing a nice job kind of sorting the blitzes, understanding the protection, and buying Nico Markiel just enough time to get the ball off. But, it's been on Nico really to identify where that blitz is coming from and figure out what his quick answers are, and I think he's been doing a tremendous job of that, and his accuracy has been pretty good, except for that late throw that almost was intercepted. He's looked really good in these last couple of drives.
And ahead of the 4th down, Kansas will counter the West Virginia timeout with one of their own.
It's like icing a kicker. You ice the coordinator, give them a look. Offense comes out and said, okay, this is the look we see, so we'll come out in this formation. But, they move around so much. This is the chess match, and I think that they think this, and we believe this formation is going to be this. But obviously a big 4th down. Got to have something where you present one look, and then it ends up being something else. That's what we've seen. A little misdirection has worked so well. And you look at the numbers there, 50% in that first quarter, 66 2/3% in the second.
98 of his 119 yards through the air in this second quarter. They need 2 yards to keep the drive alive. Fake to Bowers. Markiel pumps. Markiel on the run to the left. It's incomplete. Kansas's defense gets the stop shortly before halftime. Blake Harreld had the pressure to force the incompletion and the turnover on downs.
What I didn't like about this was that there were too many deep options for Nico Markiel. There weren't enough quick answers for him. This is 4th and 3 or 4. You got to have a number of short routes just getting by the sticks. I know that defenders, generally speaking, set up around the 1st down marker, but he doesn't have all day back there. You have to have him. You have to give him some options where he can get rid of that ball quickly and they can pick up that 1st down.
Kansas does have 2 timeouts to work with. Jalen Daniels uses his legs on the first play. He's got 12 yards and a 1st down. Kansas gets the football back to start the second half as well. They've got an opportunity to add some points here and get the ball back. Daniels, quick throw in the middle. That falls incomplete.
But Daniels just been a little bit off with his accuracy today. We've seen him high, we've seen him low. Sometimes, even with quarterbacks that have been around that long, sometimes the mechanics just get a little bit off, but here, sort of run up the middle.
Daniels on second down, uncorks one down the sideline into double coverage, and it was close to being intercepted. Derek Carter Jr. had the coverage for the Mountaineers.
Man, Sean Williams. I'm going to talk about some blitz pickup. Watch this. You're going to see Carrico come from the backside. Boom! Stonewall him. That's what I'm talking about.
They called him a physical, tough, violent runner. He might be a physical, tough, violent pass protector, too.
No doubt.
Daniels has an open seam, has the first down, squeezes between defenders. He's inside the 25 before he goes sliding down. 29 yards for Jalen Daniels, and Kansas takes its second time out of the half.
Well, that's huge. 13 seconds. And this is why he's so dangerous. Just a couple of extra cuts. And he's tough to get on the ground. And this is something that West Virginia struggled with against Ohio. Parco Navarro, the quarterback there for Ohio University, and just, guys just not wrapping on some of the tackles, including Darian Lewis, who comes up there from that safety spot. And, somebody who's not going to be happy about that, Lakeisha Lewis, his mother. Zach Alley, defense coordinator, said, you want to talk about somebody that knows some football, Lakeisha Lewis, Darian's mother. She's a high school coach back there in Ohio. She's not going to like the fact that her son came up there and tried to bring down a running quarterback like Jalen Daniels without wrapping.
As Zach Alley said, she knows more about football than a lot of people. He said, I don't question her knowledge one bit. She is football smart. A high school coach in the Akron, Ohio area. First down. Daniels zips it to the near sideline, and it's incomplete. It bounced down in front of Keaton Kabeka.
And there it is again. And you're going to see a little pressure coming off of the side here, so the throw gets hurried just a little. But we've seen him with some really high throws over receivers' heads. We've seen him dirt some throws today. So he struggled a little bit with his accuracy.
Jalen Daniels runs it to the left to center it for a field goal attempt with 6 seconds to go before halftime.
Only 8 of 18 passing on the day. Done just enough. But you talked about it, partner. You talked about the opportunity to double up here.
That's what Lance Leipold's looking for. A field goal here would give them a 17-point lead going to halftime, and they would get the football back to start the third quarter. The accuracy, like you said, it maybe hasn't been there for Jalen Daniels today, just 8 of 18, but 111 yards through the air, 2 touchdowns. He's also run for nearly 60 yards.
Yeah, it's really cool. Jim Zabrowski, the offensive coordinator, he talked about that sign that they have in the facility where it's first in and last out. And we walk by that screen that shows that. And Jalen Daniels, he's that guy, always the first one in the building, a tremendous example. And I'm sure nobody puts more pressure on Jalen Daniels than Jalen Daniels. So he's going to have a lot to think about on his execution coming out in the second half.
Laith Marjan has already hit from 42 today. This one from 43 right before halftime, and he got it. Lance Leipold excited with the first half from his Kansas Jayhawks here in the Big 12 opener, up 17 on West Virginia. Rich Rodriguez, meanwhile, has some figuring out to do in this.
When he started to take off, that could have been some big completions that killed some drives, and he threw some balls low, but made just enough of those plays. And with a guy that's been around as long as he has, and it was a starter when he was 17, you know he's going to bounce back and have a better half.
Had touchdown passes of 41 yards and 39 yards, respectively. This is Emmanuel Henderson, who had a 42-yard kickoff return in the first half. Has the same. He bolts through, and he's off to the races. Emmanuel Henderson opens the second half with a kickoff return touchdown of 93 yards.
Well, we saw Emmanuel Henderson a couple times in that first half almost spin out on some returns for the touchdown, and that time just tremendous blocking. But on the replay, you're going to see just an excellent cut, the vision that he has and his ability not to lose speed as he makes that cut got him into the open.
Laith Marjan on the point after, and Kansas has extended that lead to 27-3 thanks to a 93-yard kickoff return by Emmanuel Henderson.
Well, nothing fancy coming up. Watch this little cut that he makes right here, right there. Guys had an opportunity to get him, and then, you know, like he's a sprinter at the World Championship, showing him the tail light. Look at him stretch it out. And that's the way you're supposed to do it. You finish through the tape, man. You got to get that lean at the tape. Henderson electrifies this crowd here in Lawrence. And watch this, the form. Dip. Get that chest to break the tape at the goal line. What a return.
First kickoff return for a touchdown for Kansas since Kenny Logan did it back in October of 2020. A 93-yard touchdown or kickoff return for a touchdown, as well as a 42-yard return in the first half. And Emmanuel Henderson has made an incredible impact in the return game today.
2020. Wow.
Yeah, it's been a while.
That was the first year you could rent cars, right?
That was pretty close. Yeah.
Young jokes. So much funnier than bald jokes.
Well, not where West Virginia wanted to be. They gave up a field goal at the end of the first half. They gave up a kickoff return for a touchdown. 10 points scored in the matter of just 12 seconds of game time. And now Nico Marchiol, who's down 27-3, brings the offense out for the first time in the third quarter. And it was a struggle. They had 6 3-and-outs in that first half, Robert, but they had a couple drives at the end of the first half where they started moving the football.
Yeah, they certainly did. And behind it here, we'll see what they can do in this second half. Kansas showing pressure.
Give to Sincere Bowers. The running back tries to crawl his way across the line of scrimmage. He got just a yard before Dean Miller wrapped him up.
Well, and let's not forget, Rich Rod's been around this thing for a long time. He was coaching at Glenville State in 1990. How about that story about the RPO, run-pass option, creating it there? But said he got a standing ovation for a 10-yard game early in his career there.
Marchiol under pressure, and he's dropped. Trey Lathan with the sack for Kansas.
Well, this can't happen. Of course, Trey Lathan, who had been at West Virginia, you get him lined up like that, and somebody, they have what's called a squeeze call on the run. When you get A-gap pressure like that, the guard and the tackle have to recognize that and protect the A-gap. You can't have a free runner on your quarterback.
Oh, my goodness, what a hit. Lyric Rawls with a punishing hit over the middle on the receiver. Woo!
Well, hopefully just down, and that's Jeff Weimer who's down. Hopefully just you go to break here. Okay. Well, welcome back to Lawrence, Kansas. Kansas Jayhawks on this last play. You see Weimer taking the big hit from Lyric Rawls, but that was a clean hit. Just took a shot right to the chest on that one, and he just timed it up perfectly. And boy, that's a scary feeling, especially if you don't know what to expect when you get that. I got the wind knocked out of me for the first time on national television in National Football League, my second year in the league, and literally thought I was going to die on national TV.
That was quite the hit from Lyric Rawls. It forces West Virginia's 7th 3-and-out. Tate Nagy had trouble with it, but Kansas will retain possession.
Just trying to field this thing and tries to catch it with his chest. When you try and catch with your chest, that ball comes in there and it just pop right off. So we got sound effects for sharp cuts and we got sound effects for bounces off of shoulder pads.
Spin moves.
Spin moves.
17 unanswered for Kansas. They've opened up a 24-point lead. There's a handoff on the end around. It's a great run on the opening play for a first down.
Just tremendous run. And this is why they tell you to stretch. I mean, this is stretch play. He's going to take it to the outside, but then watch. Does such a nice job with the cutback right there, because when you press the line of scrimmage and you get those defenders flowing, those cutback lanes appear.
12 yards for Williams.
They lined up and empty, had everybody to one side. Now they get Williams in the backfield.
And they give to Williams after a 12-yard run just a play ago. Give him 9 more.
Boy, and this is one down 27-3. Coming on the road for West Virginia. You don't want to fall behind any further. It can be demoralizing if this Kansas offense can just run it down their throat.
They left some points on the board in that first half, too. It could be a lot worse. Handoff, Williams. And he's right at the line to gain. Saying enough for a first down.
And Jim Zabrowski, the offensive coordinator, talk about all that motion. Of course, here they just end up handing it to Williams right up the middle, and he just makes a couple people miss in the hole. But we've seen so many pre-snap shifts and motions, giving this West Virginia defense a lot to think about.
Daniels holds on to it, rolls left, flips it out to Cam Pickett, but it's incomplete. One of those where he was trying to run before he pulled the ball in.
Well, I had a coach say it to me best one time. Said, hey, do you catch the ball with your, what do you catch the ball with? He said, catch the ball with your hands. He said, okay, well, close your eyes and try and catch it. Watch him take his eyes off of this football right there.
Oh, yeah.
You have to look that thing in as many times as you do it, as impatient as you may get, as much as you want to run after catch. You have got to secure that ball first.
Johnny Thompson is in the backfield now for Kansas. 4th different running back they've used. That's a diving catch by Emmanuel Henderson, who had the kickoff return for a touchdown to start this third quarter. And
we asked Jim Zabrowski, the offensive coordinator for Kansas, what is Jalen Daniels' best throw? He said that long throw, that deep out across the field, showing you that arm strength right there.
Johnny Thompson on his first touch has a first down for Kansas. Yeah, he even described it as, you know, those scary throws that make you hold your breath a little bit. That's what Jalen Daniels is best at.
And that's the quarterback position. You don't want those guys too cautious. You don't want them too confident or cocky. Certainly don't want them careless. And what you're seeing from this West Virginia defense is, you know, the defensive coordinator, Zach Alley, he's bringing a lot of bodies up near the line of scrimmage. You know, he does not want Kansas to be able to just run the ball to success and just bleed this thing out. But you're taking some chances up front defensively, so you're getting a little bit of movement, you're getting more numbers in the box, and football is always about numbers, and when you bring more numbers into the box, you're more exposed on the back end. And Jim Zebrowski, the offensive coordinator, may be working on that setup here. You go body punch, body punch, body punch, and then you go that deep throw.
Williams stretching right side, and there is a flag on the play.
It looks like that's going to be offsides. Looks like that's Curtis Jones Jr.
Offside.
Leave.
Defense number 45. 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
I don't know how I missed that number that badly, or if they did, they probably had it right.
Split right down the middle. 22 run plays, 22 pass plays, almost identical yards between the two. It has been a great balanced game plan from Jim Zebrowski, the offensive coordinator. Toss to Williams, escapes one, turns it into a positive play on what could have been a loss of 4. Devin Grant does make the stop for West Virginia.
What a nice job. You called it, partner. Sean Williams. Chase Williams right up here at the line of scrimmage. He's going to be free. He's going to have an opportunity, but Williams able to escape the grasp there, but not from Devin Grant. Was able to pull him back down.
Lance Leipold said it was vital to get Sean Williams from Iowa, 5-year player there for the Hawkeyes, where he had a lot of experience, ran for over 1,300 yards. Another physical run for him as he's across the 25, and it's a first down.
You just love to see that from your running back. Just he runs like he's mad about something, right? Like, I've got something to prove every time I touch the ball, and it's nothing fancy. Right? You get a little bit of counter action, you get a couple of pullers in front of him. He just kind of lowers that shoulder and understands, most importantly, where that first down yard marker is.
He had 9 carries total through the first 3 weeks. He's got 15 today. Daniels holds on to it, stutter steps, curls to the perimeter, tries to turn the corner, and he's ushered out of bounds.
Well, it was a nice job by Derek Carter Jr., senior from Birmingham. You're right. Jalen Daniels makes that move up inside, and then he tries to bounce it to the outside, but Carter knows that he has to stay inside out on that one. And most importantly, he understands the speed that Jalen Daniels has and is able to close and use that sideline as his friend.
Quarterback Jalen Daniels leading the way, 69 yards on the ground on 5 carries. And Le'Shawn Williams, who's carried it more times today than he has all season, is right behind him. 16th touch of the day for Williams. There's a collision between him and the linebacker, and he's got the first down.
But what did Lance Leipold say to us? He said, we need to run the ball better and we need to tackle better. And this Kansas offense, led by Jim Zebrowski, the offensive coordinator, content to just run right here. And we'll see if they're going to get a little bit of air. You condense that formation. A lot of times you condense it to go wide and end up throwing it.
All kinds of window dressing. Zach Alley, the defensive coordinator, said they will do that all day. 11th play of the drive is a handoff to Williams, and he charges down to the 7 for 4 more yards.
Yeah, a lot of window dressing, a lot of talking, a lot of yelling. I love this booth here too, man. It was like we're right in on the action. You can hear every word Jalen Daniels is screaming out there, giving all kinds of different formation looks. Spread them out, go condensed, expand again. Just get those guys running a little bit more too.
A sixth-year quarterback who was the starter as a true freshman, a 17-year-old at the time, has been through 3 injuries, flips it out to a wide-open target for a touchdown. Bowden Gruen with the touchdown catch of 7 yards, and it's all Jayhawks in the Big 12 opener.
Yeah, nice play design here. They're going to sneak him across the formation and with that big 4th down catch against Missouri. Well, and they've got some big old tight ends, 6'6", and Deshaun Hanukkah, 6'6", and Carson Brune, and a little bit of Ryman action, 6'4", Bowden Gruen.
Make it 24 straight for Kansas. 12 plays, 6. A really nice drive, Robert.
Yeah, and remember, 8 for 18 in that first half, but he threw 3 passes on that drive, but was accurate with his throws. The one drop that he had in this half wasn't his fault. Of course, his legs became such a factor and topped it off with the pass to Bowden Gruen, his tight end.
3 touchdown passes today for Jalen Daniels means he's up to 13 on the season through the first 3.5 games. This was 10-3 at one point, just shortly before halftime. But
on Fox.
mornings may never be the same with El Presidente, Big Cat, PFT, and the rest of the Barstool Sports crew put their own special twist on sports talk. Wake Up Barstool, weekdays at 8 a.m. Eastern on FS1. 24 unanswered for Kansas since this was 10-3 about halfway through the second quarter. It has turned into all Jayhawks in the Big 12 opener.
Saxophone players getting down.
Got everything tonight. Nico Marchiol hands it off to Sincere Bowers with a nice cut to the outside. There is a flag thrown.
Looks like there's going to be a hold in the middle.
54, 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
It's the left guard, Walter Youngbear, the Tulsa transfer with the holding.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Didn't look like he got a hold, actually. But what happens so many times, like when we see quarterbacks break contain and the linemen are engaged, they got to let go. It looked like one of those kind of plays. Didn't really look like he had a hold of him there, though.
First and long, Marchiol looking left the whole way. It's Bowers out of the backfield in the flat. Oh my goodness. Devin Dye with the hit has Sincere Bowers slow to get up.
Of course, he's a runner and not a defenseless player, because it looks like it goes face mask to face mask. Oh man, that's a brutal hit. You wonder about crown of the helmet on that one, though. You see if they take a look at that. Of course, even with a player that's not defenseless, if you initiate the contact with the crown of the helmet, then it can be called targeting.
For targeting.
Well, they are going to take a look at it. We've already lost one player in this game due to targeting. That was Fred Perry, the West Virginia nickel. This is Devin Dye that applied the hit on Sincere Bowers. And they're going to take a look at it here to see if it is also targeting. We've got Steve Stremling, our rules analyst, with us. And Steve, what did you see on this play?
You know, clearly this is a runner, so it has to be crown of the helmet. When you look at the shots, he does dip. The question is, did he get him on that 6-inch radius right on the top? It sort of looks like he gets him right above the face mask, and that would not be, and replay is going to have a shot clearly where they see the crown of the helmet. And this dip is what they're going to have to look at.
Steve, thank you. You just heard Steve say the dip right there of Dye's helmet is what they'll be looking at.
Yeah. And I mean, to me, it looks like it's crown. And you heard him talk about that 6-inch circle, and that basically covers pretty much all the way to the face mask, barely misses the face mask. I think this is going to be a quick review, and I think it's going to be a targeting call.
And if it is, since it's the second half, Devin Dye would be out for the entire first half of Kansas's next game.
After further review, it was reviewed that there was a foul for targeting by Kansas number 11. He is disqualified for the remainder of the game. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. Automatic first down.
Well, there you have it. Devin Dye is ejected for targeting on that hit of Sincere Bowers. Each team has lost one guy on defense due to targeting this evening.
Yeah, and again, you know, you hear I mean, a lot of people like to talk about a lot of things, especially online. But you hear people complain about that targeting rule and you're taking the physicality out of the game, but this is as much for the safety of defenders. You think about Ryan Shazier, a number of players that have been injured because they've had contact with their head down.
Markiel zips it to the sideline. Grayson Barnes, the tight end, hauls it in. Had a really nice game last week against Pitt. 5 catches, 58 yards, and a touchdown in the backyard brawl, did Barnes. Fake the handoff, lofts it down the near sideline. I think there's miscommunication because Cam Vaughn did not know the ball was heading his way.
Yeah, that's one where route probably adjusts based on the coverage, and wide receiver sees it one way and doesn't make the adjustment that the quarterback is expecting. Ball ends up just landing on air.
Over the middle, it's intercepted. Trey Lathan, the former West Virginia Mountaineer, with an interception off his former quarterback.
And Trey Lathan, probably seen this in practice a number of times. And if you're a quarterback that stares down your wide receivers, you're going to be staring at defenders taking that ball the other way. And that's exactly what Nico Marchiol does. Watch his eyes at the start here. And Lathan's going to be reading those eyes the whole way. Baiting. He knows exactly what's coming. Makes the pick and almost gets it back for 6 against his former team. Can see the interception, and Lathan got some jets. Nice little move, cutting back to the inside. Little incentive to score on his old team.
Pass is caught on the screen pass. It's Keaton Kabeka with the catch, the redshirt sophomore from Austin, Texas, his first of the day. Not bad for Kansas. The last 5 times they've had the football. Pair of field goals, pair of touchdowns. 24 straight points to open this game up. Harry Stewart with a cut up the middle, down to the 6-yard line. Brings up 3rd and short for the Jayhawks.
Boy, and this is that time of the game where it's gut check time, right? In the West Virginia defense. Get that quick change, a little demoralized. The offense has been moving on you. We talk about establishing culture as a program with Rich Rod. This is where it shows itself.
3rd and 2. Stewart again bouncing off tacklers. He's inside the 5.
He's going to have enough for the first down, I believe. He'll be right at the line. Oh, 4th down.
About a half a yard to get.
Some big bodies substituting for West Virginia, expecting a run. This is where Jalen Daniels' legs can come into play.
It's Williams. He got stacked up at the 5. West Virginia's defense got the stand. Asani Redwood leading the charge for the Mountaineers.
That's what you want to see from your defense. Talked about that quick change situation. This is Mountaineer pride. Getting a stop on 4th down. The Mountaineers are down 34-3, but they're going to get the ball when we get back because of that stand on 4th down.
Back for West Virginia, and on his first snap of the day, he carries it out to the 12. They told us, Robert, that they were repping 5 quarterbacks all week in practice, have been through the majority of the season. It's just the second one that we've seen, though, in Henderson.
Yeah, Nico Marchiol, I think if you look at the film and when they analyze the film, it wasn't necessarily a lot of bad plays by him.
Tyler Jacklich, his first carry, he gets upended near the line to gain, and it is enough for a first down.
So I think that they wanted to get him as many live reps as they could, but also makes sense, especially in this day and age with mobile quarterbacks. Always good to have your backup ready to take some snaps.
Holds on to it. Curling left side, stretches to the edge, and he is shy of the 25. Another 6-yard pickup for Henderson.
Nothing fancy here. Little action, a little misdirection, as you want to see with a rich rod offense. Just turns on the Jets.
Jacklich out across the 25. They said with Jalen Henderson, he's a redshirt senior. He's an older guy. He knows how to operate. So there's kind of some younger guys, some older guys in that quarterback room. And he said that's the one thing about Jalen Henderson, that he's got a leg up on most people, is the knowledge and the concepts of being a little bit older. Fakes it. Keeper. And he's got a first down. Nice run for Jalen Henderson. He's had 3 of them on this drive already.
Yeah, and as you would expect from a quarterback in this day and age, it's been around for 5 years, been at Fresno State, been at Texas A&M, but you can see right here, nice runner's instincts. Wade dips the shoulder and cuts back to the inside, and a good throw.
Fires it to the far sideline. That's Justin Smith-Brown who hauls it in. 8 more yards, 2nd and 2.
What are the odds of your first 2 quarterbacks being lefties?
Yeah, probably not too high, right?
No. Or having 2 lefty kids like me.
Henderson's first drive tonight. The Mountaineers are starting to move the football. And it's Jacklich. No gain.
Well, stacking it up, and I expect try and get Jalen Henderson on the edge here with some sort of run-pass option to the field.
Just 2 for 12 on 3rd down today. It's a designed run for Henderson, and he bursts through the open hole down to the 22. Give him 33 yards. It's been a lot of the legs of Jalen Henderson on this drive.
Faked like he's going to go to the left, cut it right up the field, and thought he was going to try and cut back there. Ran out of gas.
Gives to Jacklich with a powerful run, lowering the shoulder pads down across the 20 to the 18. Into the third quarter from Lawrence, and it's all smiles for the Jayhawks, who have scored 24 straight and taken a 30. Henderson, who just entered the game on this drive as quarterback, has made a really big impact, Robert.
Yeah, he certainly has, and running quarterbacks change the numbers equation for offenses. And of course, about 20 years ago, there was a guy named Pat White running the football for this West Virginia Mountaineer offense run by Rich Rod.
Henderson holds on to it here. He's right at the line to gain, and they're saying it's enough for a first down.
Yeah, and that's the trick, right? You know, you get a guy that can run. You know, can you throw it when you need to? Jalen Henderson, 1 completion on the day, but only 2 for 7 coming into today. That's
Henderson keeps it, and he outlasts the chasing defender for a touchdown of 12 yards. What a drive for Jalen Henderson coming into the game for the first time.
Action here. A lot of times you get that tight end or that wide receiver coming across on the formation, and that was Ryan Ward. Sometimes they'll release to the flat, but he ends up being a lead blocker, and that's where they can mess with the numbers. You don't get enough bodies to the point of attack.
Jalen Henderson, who just entered this drive, ran for 77 yards and a touchdown on that drive alone for the Mountaineers.
Your quarterback like that, he's got those kind of legs, might as well use him at this point in the game. Couple throws.
It's a wise move to not kick it to Emmanuel Henderson, who has a 93-yard touchdown and another 42-yard return tonight.
Excuse me, one pass. Henderson was 1 for 1 on that drive. The rest of the plays were runs on that drive.
Ran for 77, passed for 8. It's 85 of the 95 that West Virginia gained on that touchdown drive to put an end to 24 straight points by Jalen Daniels and the Kansas Jayhawks.
And expect this to be the last drive we see Jalen Daniels in the game. Really not much to prove at this point.
One thing that we haven't seen is Daniel Highshaw since that opening drive for Kansas. The starting running back for the Jayhawks ran it a couple times on that first drive, but since then has not played. And obviously at this point you're not going to bring him back, but something I'm sure Jayhawk fans will be monitoring in the week to come.
Yeah, and I shouldn't act like this game is over. Certainly not. 24 points. It's technically 3 scores.
Play action to Thompson. Daniels has time, lost it down the sideline. It's incomplete, looking for Carson Brune.
Man, and how many times have we seen the overthrow from Jalen Daniels? And Brune is going to be breaking on that corner route. A little bit of pressure, changes the arm angle maybe slightly for Jalen Daniels. He got knocked down, but I think good no call there on a late hit. But we've seen him just a little bit erratic with his throws. A little bit high for a stretch in the game and then a little bit low.
Third down, looks to throw, zips it in there for a first down. It's Emmanuel Henderson with the catch and the conversion. 10 yards.
Emmanuel Henderson, who had the kick return touchdown, runs an excellent route, works his way back to the quarterback. Look at those. He turned a little bit early on that one. You'd like to see him get to his depth before he turns all the way around, but great anticipation from Jalen Daniels getting that ball on its way before Henderson's even out of the break, and almost caught it for him. Can't drop that one.
Williams, stiff arm, slides away from one. What a cut. Oh, stutter step. Williams still on his feet. Leads Sean Williams for a Kansas touchdown. 60
What would happen if you make just those extra cuts? A running back coach once asked me. Well, let's see. Watch the cut to the outside. Now watch the cut back to the inside. That lateral movement gets LaShawn Williams into the open, and then his Jets do the rest. Show him your taillights. Get in for 6.
First 100-yard rushing game of the season for LaShawn Williams. He had 3 of them 2 years ago at Iowa when he was an all Big Ten running back. But what a day it's been for him. The transfer in after 5 years at Iowa. They brought him in here, said it was vital to get him to be able to allow Daniel Highshaw to take a break. But with Highshaw not seeing the field since the first drive, it has been heavy usage for LaShawn Williams tonight.
Boy, that's the way to get it done right there. Big man, physical runner. But it was those lateral moves that got him into the end zone. They called him a one-cut move the pile guy. He had 2 great cuts on that one.
Needed a little more than one that time, but man, was that a great run from LaShawn Williams. The lead is quickly back up to 31 for Kansas.
You got to go with a little bit of Family Guy, Peter Griffin kind of sound.
Virginia, as they are just 12:52 away from opening Big 12 play, 1-0. And Robert, from the literal first play of this second half, Kansas has dominated.
Yeah, they certainly have, and that line of scrimmage has been great. But the athleticism and those extra moves, and then the finish at the tape right there from Henderson. The interception by the former Mountaineer linebacker Lathan. Touchdown from Gruen. And this amazing run from LaShawn Williams. They called him one cut and go, but he was 2 cuts and go.
His 4th career 100-yard rushing game. He's at 129 now. Henderson rolls, dumps it off. He was really close to the line of scrimmage, but he's able to complete it to Grayson Barnes, his tight end.
Yeah, and as much as Mountaineer fans enjoyed seeing the legs of Jalen Henderson on that last drive, 77 yards rushing on that drive, they're going to want to see him make some throws here.
He hands it off to Tyler Jacklich, who is swung to the ground. It is a first down, though, for West Virginia.
And you're preparing a backup quarterback, somebody that you may have as a starter at some point. You want to see him making reads. You want to see him getting that ball out of his hands quickly. And most importantly, you just want to see some accurate throws. His command of the offense. And it's one thing to run a huddle and run some plays in practice. And even in a time like this where you're behind in the game, just getting these snaps in an environment like this are invaluable.
He holds on to it, goes over the top and took a hit. They had just 37 yards of rushing before he entered last drive. Robert said it, then Henderson ran for 77.
But watch the hit from Taylor Davis coming down from his safety spot. Talk about what a physical player he is, how consistent he is. Made sure Henderson got a little, hello, how you doing?
That is way too far for his intended target, Aran Singleton. Taylor Davis, after the hit, had the coverage downfield.
Well, there you go. You get a third down. You get an opportunity to see what your quarterback can do on third down. And look, quarterback play. What are you doing on third down? What are you doing in red zone? What are you doing at the end of game, end of half? These types of pressure situations, can you make the right decision and execute?
Rolls left, throws on the run for Singleton, and he led him too far. Rich Rodriguez told us earlier this week, we are still giving 5 different quarterbacks reps during practice, but nobody has been able to separate themselves yet.
And maybe a little bit late on this one. I think he could have had that ball out just a little bit earlier, and of course he led man too much on that. And Singleton, he's not a big guy, right? 5'9", 165 pounds. Talk about the flashes that he's shown, but that needs to be a more accurate throw from Henderson.
Oliver Straw's 8th punt of the day. Tay Nagy calls for a fair catch inside his own 20. I think if you're Kansas, Robert, you're coming off of a loss 2 weeks ago against Missouri, a game that you led by 2 scores. Tigers come back and win it. Then you had to sit with that for an extra week because of the bye week. And now you come out here and you have an impressive game where you're up 31. And the day for Jalen Daniels is done. Cole Ballard comes in, the redshirt sophomore from Westfield, Indiana, the son of Chris Ballard, the Indianapolis Colts GM.
Something you know a little bit about in that Indy area.
Go Colts. Indiana Jones and the Colts off to a good start this year, 2-0. He hands the football off to Harry Stewart, who made a cut upfield down to the 25 for 8 yards.
Boy, Nick Taylor comes up. You talk about him being one of those emergent players on that defense. He had been over at App State, and he comes in. And again, you know, with the score this way, kind of out of hand, 31 points, kind of late. But you want to see the way that these guys play. You talk about, you know, getting your best stuff on film. You know, football is just not the kind of game where you can relax, right? That's how people get hurt. But you love to see the energy from this West Virginia defense at a time like this.
Ballard, quick pass on the screen. That's hauled in by Bryson Canty, and he's got the first down for the Jayhawks. And I think the same goes what you're just talking about, quarterbacks for West Virginia. It's the same on the Kansas side. You know Jalen Daniels is gone after this year, the 6th-year quarterback. Absolutely. This is an opportunity to see what you can get from Cole Ballard.
Yeah, and I'm sure Jayhawks fans are like, yeah, give it to us all day long. Give us some garbage time to develop our quarterbacks. It's good for us. And just want to go back to the point, you know, staring out at this beautiful stadium and thinking about the way that this Kansas football program has evolved and improved. It's really great to see.
Designed run for Ballard. Patient run as he's down to the 37 for 5 yards. I mean, you're talking about a half a decade ago, team that didn't win a game. And now all of a sudden Lance Leipold comes in and has really allowed this program to take off. They were ranked in the top 25 to end the season in 2022. Had a down year last year, a lot of injuries that didn't help the cause there, but Kansas feels they are right back on track this year.
And it was just one of those stories with Leipold at Wisconsin Whitewater and then at Buffalo and then coming here. And just, it's really cool to, you know, have a guy that had won the right way in so many places, be able to come in and be a part of this kind of turnaround in a program. And, you know, I think that, you know, they're just guys that you could just tell love coaching. And Jim Zabrowski, the offensive coordinator, was talking about that. You know, he remembers, you know, being a high school coach, and that's what Lance Leipold said about Zabrowski. He said, you know, he would coach anywhere. And he said, I love being an offensive, or I love being a coach in high school because, like, you know, you just take what you get and you make the most out of it. But you just tell they just love their players and they love coaching and teaching.
Ballard into one-on-one coverage, throws it behind Keaton Quebeca. Incomplete. You saw the numbers there before that last play on Lance Leipold. The previous 6 seasons before he showed up in Lawrence, they won a total of 9 games. Then he comes here, and in the last 5, he's led them to 25 wins. Was a powerhouse at Division III Wisconsin Whitewater, where he won as many national titles as games lost. 109-6 over 8 seasons with 6 national titles. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that is crazy.
And Kansas does have to punt it away. Rodney Gallagher calls for the fair catch at the 16, but there is a flag. After a 46-yard punt, they will have to check on it.
Kicking team number 96. That 10-yard penalty added to the end of the kick. First down, timeout.
West Virginia's offense coming back out on the field next, but it's Lance Leipold and Kansas up 31.
Americans.
On Fox. This is another new quarterback for West Virginia, the third of the day. Khalil Wilkins has a first down for the time being, but we will have to check on the penalty marker.
Right, Rich Rod gave us a lowdown on all these guys.
Yeah.
He wasn't lying about Wilkins. He said he could really scoot.
Holding. Defense number 97. 10-yard penalty. First down.
23-yard run for Wilkins on the first time he touches the ball tonight, plus the penalty, and that has West Virginia right near midfield. Redshirt freshman from Washington, D.C., who ran it a couple times in the dominant win over Wagner back in week 1, or rather Robert Morris. Wilkins keeps the football, took a hit at the line of scrimmage.
Well, he actually gave a hit to Walter Young-Bear. He runs right into the back of pulling guard. It's a good way to get your linemen mad at you, is to run up their back. Watch, he's going to pull around this way, and he's just going to run right into him. Runs into his hip. You don't want to do that a whole lot.
No. Well, everybody moves.
I think Wilkins was expecting the snap.
Ball start. Offense number 54. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Maybe. And this is what you want to see, though, right? This is why you get those young quarterbacks in there. You get those live reps. And the most important part, or one of the most important parts of being a quarterback, is that leadership role. You know, the times that you are actually huddling, or anytime they're listening to you, you got 10 other guys waiting to know that you have the confidence to tell them what they need to do.
It's Wilkins again, who sheds a tackler, picks up 2. Rich Rod told us this week too, and he said, hey, we are repping 5 quarterbacks during practices. I'm not trying to be coy with you either. Like, we really are repping all 5 quarterbacks, and you probably will see multiple ones in the game Saturday, and Wilkins is the 3rd different quarterback we've seen for the Mountaineers.
Rich Rod's he's a true national treasure. He's been the same guy for a long time. I remember interviewing him. He was at the University of Michigan, and I somehow was able to walk onto that campus and into his office without catching on fire or any kind of crazy stuff.
It's Wilkins again, stays up on his feet, and then he gets tackled from behind about 2 yards shy of the line to gain. It's 12. It brings up 4th down.
Well, it's not just the speed. He kind of runs through some tackles, too. And talk about just a redshirt freshman. You know, he's going to fill out, get a better command of the offense. He looks very poised out there right now.
4th and 2. Hands it off. Tyler Jacklich has a seam. He's twisted down. Football came out. Kansas says they have it, and they do.
Ruling on the field.
Blake Harrell with the fumble recovery for Kansas.
Boy, defenses are just so good, and you're supposed to get 2 hands on it in traffic. I think someone just comes in and takes a swipe at the ball, You can't relax at the end of these runs, and he does. He only has one hand in there, and actually, I think Jalen Dye is going in there for the tackle and just kind of punches the ball out. Get that peanut punch. And those guys see that so many times on film. Work just like that. So when they go in to make those tackles, go ahead and try and knock that thing loose. But you have to know, as a ball carrier, when you're going into contact, especially with multiple defenders, you got to get that second arm over the ball.
Ballard, it's a quarterback keeper. Stiff arms a defender, throws him to the ground.
His teammates, Kansas teammates, loving that, right? And that's Keyshawn Robinson, the recipient of the stiff arm. Not as excited about it. Cole Ballard. Get off! Woo!
Man. Physicality from the quarterback.
It's like one of those Derrick Henry type things right there.
Hands it off to Johnny Thompson, this time bouncing out to the right side and follows a block across the 30 for a first down. Kansas had a game that they felt got away from them 2 weeks ago against Missouri. Jumped out to a 21-6 lead early. Tigers came back and actually won that game by double digits. Kansas played nowhere near their best football. They had an opportunity by taking such a big lead early that they let up. Thompson clipped down at the 39. And a lot of times, too, when you sit on that for an extra week, you've got a bye week, you wonder how you come out. Well, Kansas came out in great form today. As you take a look at their schedule coming up, they've got another one here at home against Cincinnati coming up, then on the road twice, including at Texas Tech on October 11th. So the Red Raiders got a big win today against Utah before coming back home for two more against Kansas State and Oklahoma State.
You had a lot of people coming into the season talking about how wide open the Big 12 looked. Any one of 6, 7 teams really with a shot to win it. I think that's certainly the case now. Was that a flop? Was that? Oh my goodness. That's flop's going to win a Razzie right there. That's World Cup soccer worthy flop. We have to get another look at that one. Oh, the Neymar dive.
little late on the flop too. Could have sold it by going a little earlier. Give to Thompson. .242 yards on the ground for Kansas today. They said they wanted to run the football better than they did against Missouri last week, and they absolutely have.
Going to take it all the way down to 2 minutes here.
This is the 2-minute timeout.
Well, we're here in Lawrence. The Jayhawks up 41-10. Oh my goodness, the rubber band man. The rubber band man, the spinners. Wow, Jayhawks have it when we get back.
Sunday on Fox, the Rams take
games in your area only on Fox.
Philadelphia Eagles off to a good start, 2-0. They already had the Super Bowl rematch win last week. Now they got another playoff rematch against the Eagles. Finn Lappin on to punt it away. Gallagher the fair catch near the 12, and that's where West Virginia's offense will start this drive after a 48-yard punt. Yeah, we were talking about Rich Rodriguez and his offense. You called him a national treasure. And I thought it was kind of cool. The Kansas defensive coordinator, DK McDonald, said there's 3 guys who have really revolutionized modern-day college football. He said Mike Leach, Urban Meyer, and Rich Rod.
Yeah, no question about it. And, you know, Rich Rod told us a story when he was at Glenville State, and they created essentially what became the run-pass option. I remember when he was at Michigan with Shoelace, Denard Robinson running a form of that. And, you know, varying stories. I think when Urban Meyer was at Bowling Green, or maybe when he was at Utah, they were talking about accidentally creating it on their own. Like maybe it's like calculus. It was invented by 2 people almost simultaneously.
Hubbard with his 2nd consecutive carries. Out to the line to gain for a first down. Oh, Rich Rod's team about to fall to 2-2, and doesn't get a whole lot easier because next week on Fox they've got number 16 Utah, who will probably drop in the rankings after the loss to Texas Tech today. Then they go on the road for a couple, BYU and UCF.
Yeah, and between the players that he brought over from Jacksonville State and, you know, him calling guys really freshmen in the system, this is why it takes time, even in this era of the portal and players changing and bringing in certain guys. It takes time to turn a program around, especially when you talk about where it matters most, at the line of scrimmage, especially that offensive line of scrimmage. You get new guys in there playing together for the first time. It takes a couple of years to kind of build that up the way that you need it to be. But make no mistake about it, Rich Rod's going to make the most out of any of the players that he brings in.
Oh, what a dominant day for Kansas. Jumped out early on the first drive with a touchdown and never looked back with a 41-10 win over West Virginia in the Big 12 opener as the Jayhawks improved to 3-1. 1-0 in the Big 12. Big thank you to our entire Fox Sports crew tonight for their phenomenal work. We send you out to the LA studio with Mike Hill.
Welcome to FS1.